Hello and welcome to Reading Into It, a channel where we try to look a little bit deeper into the things we read, and where today I'll be sharing with you my October TBR. Alright, and before we get started, I just want to let you know that my entire TBR this month is going to be somewhat Halloween themed. It's pretty much all either horror or suspense, or has something to do with something that's supposed to be terrifying. And the first thing I'm going to be reading is actually Skin by Roald Dahl. A lot of you will probably know him from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the BFG, Matilda, James and the Giant Peach, a lot of the sort of spooky, weird children's stories. But he actually did do a lot of writing specifically for adults, and Skin is a collection of his more terrifying and horror-filled short stories. After that, I'll be reading Horns by Joe Hill. A lot of you might not know, Joe Hill is actually the son of Stephen King, who we pretty much all know is the master of horror, and Horns was recently adapted into a movie featuring Daniel Radcliffe, as you can see right there. The story, as far as I know, is that his girlfriend is murdered, and he wakes up to find that there's horns growing on him, and he has these weird demonic powers, so he's trying to figure out what went on with his girlfriend, while he's also trying to figure out what his powers are and what it all means. After Horns, I'm going to be reading a book called The Dead Beat by Marilyn Johnson, which is actually a non-fiction book about obituaries and the people who write them. After that, I'm going to be doing my obligatory Stephen King reading for the Halloween month, and that's going to be Cell. A lot of people have told me that it's one of his better novels, but it's sort of slid under the radar. And basically what it is it's a mixture between an homage to zombie films and sort of the reliance on technology that we sort of experience these days. After that, I'm going to get to The Demonologist by Andrew Piper. From what I've heard, it's about a guy who teaches about demonic literature, but he doesn't really believe the stuff that he's teaching until he gets entwined in this sort of supernatural tale, and his beliefs are sort of shaken. After that, I'm returning to short stories in a collection that I'm really excited about, and that's Haunted by Chuck Palahniuk. From what I understand, it is a collection of short stories, but it's organized sort of like a novel, and there's a meta story that there's a mysterious person who asked for submissions of horror stories from a newspaper, and so there's this overarching story binding together all the short stories. And to round off the month, I'm going to be reading a selection of stories and poems from Edgar Allan Poe, undoubtedly one of the masters of horror and suspense. And I'm potentially looking to do a readathon on Halloween of some of Edgar Allan Poe's more well-known stories like The Pit and the Pendulum and The Telltale Heart, so more on that coming if I do end up organizing it. So there we have my October TBR, and I plan on doing reviews on some, if not all, of these books as I finish them, so definitely stay tuned for that, and let me know what you're reading for October down in the comments below. See you in the next video.